It's beef bulgogi. Hey guys, it's Wok Wednesday once again. I'm Jeremy here at School of Wok, and this week it's beef bulgogi, Korean beef. Beef bulgogi is really easy. It's all about the marinade. You know, if you have overnight to let it sit and steep in all these flavors, then that's great. I'm going to start with our main base: ginger, garlic, spring onion. There's a lot of similarities between Korean and Chinese food. So, peel your ginger. You want a fair bit of ginger and plenty of garlic. Now, I used to work in a Korean company, and there's so much garlic in Korean food, and that's what really makes it. But you do need to take your toothbrush with you everywhere. Everything finely chopped for this marinade. Then your garlic cloves, just a quick dip in some water to help me peel. Serious amount of garlic. Just take any dry ends off. Give it a light bash, and then a rough chop. I've actually got long lost distant Korean relatives, so one of my aunties is half Korean. We got to know her about 15 years ago. She found my grandma in a Chinese newspaper in Hong Kong, having not seen her for about 35 years. When we go to their house for dinner, wow. Just love all the little bits of Korean food that sort of go on the side of things like this beef bulgogi. Garlic, plenty of it, straight in to the marinade. Next up, your onion. It's not for the marinade, more for stir frying or putting onto the grill later. It's a huge onion, so I'm going to go for about a quarter of it rather than half. If it's smaller, just half an onion's fine. And just fine slices. Just keep that aside. Spring onion, again, finely chopped. You really want to pack the flavour into something like this, because once it's marinated, you know, the thin strips of beef don't take long to cook at all. You just want a really nice, strong flavour. And then I've got my Korean pear or Chinese pear. Now what this does is it adds natural sweetness to the dish, but also overnight, if you have that time to marinate, it will really tenderize the meat. Amazing ingredient. I'm going to use all the skin, everything, just grate that. Careful not to get the seed in. Love this stuff. If you actually try Korean pear, it's got a nice texture to it. It's a real good crunch. But the sweetness is very unique. If you can't find this type of pear, any sort of pear will do. Pear in. Don't waste that juice. Get all that natural sweetness into the marinade. So next up, your steak. I've got rump steak here. You can use any sort of primary cut, so you're cooking it quickly. You just want that nice sear. I've probably got about half of what's in the recipe, so I'm going to go a little less on the sugar front. Everything else can be the same. And I'm just cutting nice thin slices of my steak. Then if you want to sort of tenderize even more, then give that steak a good bash. So you can stir fry this, or you can barbecue it, however you wish. it will turn out really nice. It's the sweetness and the saltiness and that great balance that you're looking for. So once I've cut my steak, I'm going to start to add all my sauces, my soy sauce, mirin, all that great flavour. Oh, it's my week stress out. Right, onto the sauces. I've got some light soy sauce, some mirin, and some sesame oil. Light soy sauce. A good amount of light soy. I've got 4 tablespoons there. I'm going for roughly a half ratio of the recipe because I've only got 1 steak here, but I think in the recipe we put 2 steaks into it. So mirin for that sort of sweet, sort of, again, tender feeling, in sesame oil straight in. Brown sugar. A couple of spoons will do for 1 steak. And that will accentuate the sweetness of that pear. A little pinch of salt and pepper. And then give that a good massage through. You want to get all that flavour in to the meat. Now you can also, if you want to add sesame flavour to this, use your sesame seeds at this point. So just throw everything in at the same time. And of course, if it's sitting overnight, that will just sort of steep in all the juices. That's it. Cover that, pop it in the fridge overnight, cook it the next day. So, I'm really enjoying these new bowls. They are actually for sale, so get involved. They're bamboo bowls, School of Wok style. I could fry the onions first, but actually what I really like is almost using the wok as a little mini Korean barbecue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to baste the wok with oil, and I'm going to go sort of piece by piece to get a good sear on my strips of beef. Make sure that oil gets as far around the wok as possible to allow yourself that space. Now we're going to start to sear this beef nicely. Try not to get too much of the moisture in at the beginning if you can help it. Smells delicious. All that garlic and ginger really makes this. So trying to use all the space of the wok if you can. Okay, good. Now I'm going to whack the heat up now, really high heat. Sear that nicely. That's all my pieces of beef. And then the onions, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in the middle there and just place my onions into that oil to pick up all the flavour of the beef marinade. Sort of start to sweat down quite quickly. High heat right now. You can see I'm not actually moving this around too much. Searing rather than stir frying. Kind of like your homemade hot dog stand. You can start to smell that caramelization now. So I'm going to start to turn that around. Whoa, look at that colour. High heat still, searing away, trying to caramelize all that marinade, and then start to move that around so it doesn't burn. Now I'm stir frying, and then I don't want to waste all this marinade, so I'm going to pour this in now. I've been searing this for about 2 minutes. I don't want to go much longer because I don't want to overcook my beef. Just cook through that sort of raw garlic and ginger for another 30 seconds or so. Okay, once that sauce is wrapped around nicely, you're going to switch that off. Simple as that. Really easy, but a little bit of added technique to it. You can see how far one steak goes when you slice it into nice thin pieces. Whoa, can't wait to dig in. And this, the bowl of rice on the side or in a lettuce wrap, makes a perfect meal. I could eat that all day. Beef bulgogi, really simple. Most importantly, leave it overnight in the fridge, covered, and you'll get a really nice tender bit of steak with all that flavor. If you like this recipe and you want to learn more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.